Last there, just take it up to the departure end of the runway, then a left turn and a lowest downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see. What we got? A tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger. Down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here. You cleared land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Kennard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Kennard's going to have to go around. Kennard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Kennard?
Yeah, Kennard.
All right, Kennard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Kennard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever's here on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello. Hello.
hello, everybody, and welcome to this Thursday's live stream. And it's bloody freezing outside. Am I the only one who can hear that weird echo?
I can hear it.
You can hear it? Is it
I'm just
really bad?
muting mics to see if it's one of us ringing round or something.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's, yeah. Who knows? Stop now.
Right.
Stop.
I can't hear any echo, but never mind.
Okay. Well, if you guys hear an echo, stick your thumbs down and I'll see what I can figure out on this end. Anyway, welcome everybody. Hope it's okay. Sorry about that particular little thing there. Another slick production. There you go. Well, given the price of entry is not very high, that's kind of what you get sometimes. We don't, unfortunately, have a crew. This is not Louis Theroux style here. Not yet, anyway. Hopefully we'll get there. And talking of that, give us a hand. Go and click like for us, as Paul Fraser-Bennison's already asked. Ah, there you go. Thank you, Paul. God, that was slick, wasn't it? Who did that? Right. Before I forget anything else, I have to say very big thank you to Sky Demon for sponsoring this and give you this week's video, which is Hannah on well, you find out what it's about. Here you go with Sky Demon's tip.
Hi, I'm Hannah from Sky Demon, and this is today's top tip.
Sky Demon provides a digital logbook function as a part FCL compliant way of recording your flying time and capacity. To add a flight to your digital logbook, first tap Backup to Cloud in the Logs menu to ensure that all of your logs are available in your cloud. Then tap Update Digital Logbook. At the bottom, Sky Demon will show a list of your recent flights from your cloud. We'll add this one to our logbook. Sky Demon shows the timings and general details from the flight, and you can add or edit any details as needed, such as entering instructor time, night landings, or timings for your own custom columns. You can add your own comments here too. Tap Add Entry, and the flight will be added to your logbook. You can also add a manual entry from scratch, as well as adjusting your logbook settings and other options here at the top.
For more information on using Sky Demon, take a look at our user guide, which you can access from our website.
Right, that's brilliant.
Do think of everything, those people at Sky Demon, don't they?
Yeah.
I can remember a conversation with them like a few years ago, and they go, "What do you think we should add or something?" And I go, "Oh, I can't think we could add anything really. It does everything you need, and then it just gets better and better and better."
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. So I went flying today. I just need to say that I had two flights with two different airplanes this morning, and anyone who went flying today, what an absolutely gorgeous weather day.
It's just fantastic.
Stunning. Amazing.
Yep.
I think that must take us straight into the weather. So I'm going to bring young Simon on here. I'm going to make him. I might try something different. I'm going to make Simon big, and then see if I can add this in there.
Yeah, look, well, there we go.
See, you were just trying to annoy me there, Ian, by saying you went flying today, weren't you? I was meant to be flying yesterday. Had gorgeous weather, and the aircraft went US.
You were flying yesterday, weren't you, Simon?
Don't start. Don't wind me up. No, unfortunately not. I was meant to be, and then the aircraft went. So, slightly. How can I put it? Slightly frustrated, but one of those things. There is more good weather to come.
Feel your pain. Anyway, what's the weather going to be like?
Okay, so I thought we'd start with this one this week for you. It's really cold out there, and we've been talking about the Arctic Maritime Air Mass that's been bringing some snow showers across western, northern and eastern coasts of the country. Inland, it's been pretty perfect, and as you said, today was a really pleasant day for many of us flying, as was yesterday. So as forecasters, we use these charts to tell us where the air has come from. So on this top chart here, the red line is air at low levels. The green line is air at medium levels, about 5,000 feet. And then the blue line is air at sort of medium to high levels at about 10,000 feet. And this is the backwards trajectory of the last 7 days. So you can see that the air that has come to us at about 10,000 feet actually started over the western side of the state 7 days ago before arriving at us. The medium and low level air has actually gone from central parts of the States and northern Canada northwards across northern Greenland before arriving with us. So that's the reason why it's been so cold, but also the reason why the air has been so clear as well, because it's coming in from the north and there's just no pollution up there. So that's what we've been experiencing just at the moment. Now, is it going to last? Well, sort of. Things are changing subtly. This is the forecast chart for Friday. Low pressure out in the North Sea to the east of Scotland. Again, the northerly flow bringing most showers. Those are the green colours on here. Most showers across western, northern and eastern coasts. Inland, though, it looks as if it's going to be another glorious day. I do suspect we might just catch more snow showers, perhaps for northern parts of Wales, possibly northwest England, than we have over the last couple of days. But away from those showers, you're looking at bases of around about 3,000 to 4,000 feet tops, about 8,000 to 10,000 feet. Only thing tomorrow, visibility may just be reduced a little bit because we're losing that straight northerly flow and it's coming in more off the North Sea, so there's more moisture in there. Now, for Saturday, low pressure drifts its way further southwards. We've got two centres, one over North Wales, one over the North Sea again. Some heavier snow showers for northeast Scotland, probably more snow showers on Saturday for northern and western Wales and for southwest England. But again, these are generally isolated, but suddenly you could find one with a base perhaps of 2,000 feet, tops at 15,000 feet. Some pretty big cumulus clouds in there, but away from those areas. So much of southern Scotland, much of the rest of England, much of Ireland look like being fair, decent visibility. Base is about 3,000 feet, tops at about 10,000 feet. And then going into Sunday, again, that north and northeasterly wind on Sunday, low pressure off towards the east, but Sunday looking a decent day again. I just think more cloud around on Sunday, particularly northern and eastern Scotland and eastern parts of England. Probably one or two snow showers there, but for most of us, it's fair, it's dry, sunny spells again. But I do think visibility reduced a touch on Sunday, perhaps 8 to 10 kilometres, something like that, and generally bases of around about 3,000 feet. So it looks like being a decent weekend. Now, just a quick plug for a free webinar that I'm doing on Wednesday. This is part of the Astral Aviation Consulting webinars that they're doing on behalf of the CAA. So this is on Wednesday at 7:30. You can register now. Do a search for Astral Aviation Consulting, and you've got to register for this because it's done via Zoom, but it's all completely free of charge. But we're doing a workshop on sky watching clouds for pilots, so that should be a fun one. And then, of course, don't forget Aviation Weather School, perfect Christmas present for all pilots. And this is going to be on the consecutive Tuesdays, so the 31st of January and the 7th of February. Go to weatherschool.co.uk to find out more now. And as much as you want that to be it from me tonight, it won't be, because I'll be back a little bit later.
We look forward to seeing you later, Simon. So for those people watching, Simon will be giving us a bit of a winter weather chat later, and your chance to ask him all sorts of questions. So go into those Met books, find the most awkward question you can, and see if you can. See if you can. It's half an hour. Can you fool Simon?
Yeah, I'm just getting Bill Jars on the phone.
Not
Bill, I need you.
not really. Not really. Okay. Thank you very much, Simon. We'll see you shortly.
Hey, Simon.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you've got another question for Simon later, if there's something you want to know more about, or something that you need to know to help your flying forecasting, then stick it in the comments, and we'll circle back around for them.
Absolutely. Good. Right. I think a little bit of story here. So Sarah couldn't join us tonight, and she recorded a video for Herbert, which was all about why you should be a member of the club. And frankly, you should be a member of the club. Unfortunately, for reasons that currently escape me, I can't upload that video to the software, which is a bit of a pain. And this is why I've renamed Johnny.
Sarah Salmon.
Sarah Salmon. Johnny has basically taken Sarah's script and is now going to do, in the style of Sarah, the video. So take it away, Johnny.
We're not quite the same voice. So if you're not a member of the Fly Club, you can join at the moment for just £5 a month or £52 for the year. £5 a month really is a bargain. You can use that easily just by using one of the landing vouchers. This month we've got Bagby, Beverley, Blackbush and Sherburn. So there's plenty to go out and do and see. And also we've got a good voucher system with Poolies giving 5% off, and that will give you 60 quid off one of the new Lightspeed Delta Zulu headsets. So pay 52 quid to join the club, and if you want a new headset, you can save 60 quid off one of those instantly. So yeah, join today for £5 a month. Go to fly.co.uk/memberships, or if you want to just pay for all of it up front, hit the £52 option, and it's all done and dusted. And yeah, you get awesome things like Livestream Extra, access to all of the content that we produce, as well as some exciting events that we're looking at planning next year. So become part of the club.
Absolutely. So good. Let me see if I can. Oh, there you go. Sarah, take that a bit.
Yeah.
Probably safest to move on. Dave, you're up.
Yes, I've been given the first news story, which is pretty. It's not a great one, I have to say. So pulling my race face on, I'm going to kick off with the fact that there are 4 aviation people who have died during the past few days. I'm going to kick off with the one in the order that we heard about them, no other order. And the first one was Carolyn Grace, former Spitfire pilot, who's been killed in a car accident in Australia. And an announcement made by Daisy Grace, Carolyn's daughter-in-law, said, "It is with great sadness we must announce that Carolyn Grace has been killed in a car accident on Friday, 2nd of December. This is a traumatic and unexpected loss to all of us, and we would request that you respect the family's privacy." Carolyn took on the Grace Spitfire, as it's known, ML407, after her husband, Nick Grace, was also killed in a car accident in 1988. Nick, an engineer as well as a pilot, rebuilt the Spitfire over 5 years. An ML407 is actually an important aircraft. It flew more than 176 operational missions during World War II, including combat at D-Day. Carolyn told the BBC in 2011 to keep our Spitfire operational and keep it for the embodiment of my husband. I had to learn to fly it. Before that, she had flown a Tiger Moth, but going from a Tiger Moth to a Spitfire, big task. But anyway, she learned to fly it, and there was another Grace in the cockpit. She went on to earn her display authorization and flew the aircraft at air shows and fly pasts. And the aircraft is now part of Ultimate Warbirds, offering two-up flights, two-person flights. Next on our list is a chap called Rufus Heald, who was at one time a contributor to Flyer. Rufus was a great character. It was about 20 years ago that he was a contributor to Flyer. He wrote various safety items and all sorts of things. Great character, fantastic bloke to be around. He had a phenomenal career in the RAF. He went on to head what eventually became the GA unit at the CAA. He was an instructor at Exeter, an all-round well-loved guy. He had a good life, good long life, died at the age of 97. A statement from Rufus's son Nigel said, "It is with considerable sadness to inform you that my father Rufus passed away last Thursday." This is a week ago, at the age of 97. But a good age, great life, and lovely bloke. Announced earlier this week was the death of Roger Hayes. Roger Hayes was always be remembered as being the guy who was in Mr. Air Racing in a way. He is associated with the air races staged by the Royal Aero Club's Records Racing and Rally Association, better known as the 3Rs. He won the King's Cup 3 times, one of their most prestigious races, and he ran a company called Sky Sport UK, specialising in advanced handling skills, including air racing and formation training, and his favourite aircraft was a Beagle Pup 150. The fourth death, which became announced this morning, this is the most difficult one, really. So last surviving dam buster, Johnny Johnson. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. It's been all over BBC. He got to the age of 81, which is a fantastic age.
101.
Sorry?
101.
101. Sorry, 101. Yep, so that's what I meant. Squadron leader George Johnny Johnson, last survivor of the World War II dam busters raid, died at the age of 101. Died peacefully in his sleep last night. He was a bomb aimer in the 617 Squadron, which carried out the raid in 1943. They destroyed 2 dams and badly damaged the third one. Johnny Johnson was actually involved in the third raid, which was the most difficult one, because they found, as they were approaching the dam, that they couldn't use the bombing equipment that had been specially developed for the raid, and he had to do it all by instinct and guesswork. He made the crew, he made them do 9 extra runs before he was happy that he got it right. And this is all the time while all this flak and everything was coming past him. And he tells a story in a little video BBC have shown about how the tail gunner was saying, "Get on with it, mate," or something like that. He was just, on their 10th run, he felt confident that they'd got it right. And they were flying at night, 30 feet above the water, flak passing, going past them. It's absolutely incredible. He released the bombs, and as he said, "Bombs away," the rear gunner said, "Thank Christ for that." You can imagine it. Anyway, they got away, and they were one of the few planes that came back. There was a lot of the aircraft. 53 people were killed in that raid. Johnny went on to have 22 years in the RAF. He left to become a teacher and eventually moved to Devon, where he became a counsellor. And he was awarded, of course, the MBE in 2017. Great guy. There's a lot of tributes to him. One from Darren Lewington here. And we have on the story we have on the website, we have a couple of fabulous pictures from various tweets that have come in. One from Darren flying Johnny Johnson in the cockpit. This is Project Propeller. And there's another one, which we haven't got here, from Johnny Cracknell, enjoying a glass, what looks like a fairly large glass of whiskey with Johnny on his 101st birthday party about a month ago. So, 4 of our heroes gone.
Yeah, in very, very short time, as it were. Okay, well, as
Martin Newsby says, aviation has some wonderful people, but eventually we lose them all.
Martin also pointed out that tonight there was a stunning moon for
Johnny
Johnson's
moon.
I was driving up the M4, so, it was just astoundingly beautiful. Astoundingly beautiful. Right, moving on. Ed, you have
I have some cheerier news, and this is a new aeroplane for the UK from a UK aircraft manufacturer. So Metal Seagulls, who are the UK agent for Zenith Aircraft and UL Power Engines, they're launching their own range of light aircraft, and that's going to be known as Farley Aircraft. They're based at Haverfordwest Airfield, and in a statement earlier this week, they said Farley are designed to meet the needs of the changing marketplace in light aviation, particularly in surveillance, trading, humanitarian and recreational flying, and is designed around potential for modernisation and decarbonisation of the light aircraft fleet in years to come. Apparently, the name for Farley means peace, serenity, reliability and strength, which they say will be key aspects of the design. It's also the name of the youngest shareholder in Farley Aircraft, who will be 7 years old in January 2023. Got a feeling that's their daughter, who is, I've seen, wielding tools from a very young age. 2 models are on the drawing boards. First is a 600-kilogram 2-seater, able to operate on propulsion solutions from 100 horsepower to 140. And they're looking at different fuel and energy solutions, including electric. It'll be offered as a factory-built light sport microlight. Cruise speed is expected to be in 100 to 110 knot range with a stall of around about 35 knots. And they're saying a launch price will be around about £99,000 plus VAT. The second model will be a 750-kilogram VLA version using 130 to 200 horsepower propulsion solutions, including a hybrid model with the ability to recharge in flight. The VLA models are expected to have an extended range capability with around 6 hours airborne autonomy, and they'll be offered in the UK as a quick build aircraft under a build assist program. There's even talk of a 4-seat CS23 hybrid and a full electric model. Now, interestingly, Metal Seagulls are working with the University of Wales Trinity St David on a range of components for this, for the power plant solution and for smart sensing, energy storage, and power plant integration. If you're wondering when we'll see the first signs of this, it's going to be at the Pop and Microlight Trade Fair in 2023, where they'll have some components on show, and they're promising the first demonstration airframe at Aero Expo at Sidewell in June 2023. First flight is Q4 2023. So it's quite an impressive timeline. So yeah, we look forward to seeing that.
That's an astounding timeline. That's like a shockingly short timeline.
I suspect they've been working on some elements of it for a while.
It's an individual design, isn't it?
Yeah. And as like promotional 3D renderings go, it's very subdued. Normally it would be some, just subdued. The gold and red colouring is unusual. I put a link in the comments anyway. So, but yeah, I guess it doesn't. Aeroplanes don't all have to look the same, do they? So.
No, they don't. They look like, I would almost say, rather than renderings, I wonder if they're kind of like not little 3D models.
Martin just said it's not in my fancy hangar, but who knows, Martin? If it's a really good project for the future that does useful things for people, then it doesn't have to be in everyone's fancy hangar, does it? So.
Yeah, no, and it's good that we're developing some aircraft in Wales.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can get Fafardis down at my local Morrison's. Sorry. Is that inappropriate?
Does it depend on time of year?
No, they're available all year, actually.
Okay.
There is no season for Fafali.
Not in Morrison's, no.
Not in Morrison's. Right. I think it's time to move on to another kind of non-conventional aircraft, let's call it.
Yeah, that is coming to the UK.
Wow.
Take it away, Johnny.
Yeah, so we've spoken about this lots, and we'll never have a week without an EVTOL. But the Lilium EVTOL aircraft is coming to the UK. So Valair Aviation, who are based at Oxford, they do private jet and helicopter management and charter. They've made a firm commitment for 10 Lilium Pioneer Edition jets with an option for another 10. So Valair are launching a subsidiary called EVTOL. And they'll be Lilium's lead partner and the launch operator in the UK for sales of the jet to private individuals. They're also going to provide maintenance, a service centre, and they're looking at whether they can invest in the sort of landing infrastructure around the UK. We've seen EVTOL. Where was it? Coventry. An EVTOL E-port was talked about for Coventry, wasn't it? Yeah. So this whole thing coincides with the launch of the Pioneer Edition jet, which comes with service support, training package, all sorts of cabin configurations and materials, and that sort of thing. And Valair Aviation is run by a chap called Dustin Dryden, and they're looking at they're saying it's a natural choice for them. They're in the high-end market of chartering fancy jets and helicopters for people. But interestingly, Valair are based at London Oxford Airport. There is already a helicopter shuttle. It's about 60 odd miles between there and Battersea. And the Lilium says that their EVTOL have a range of 40 to 200 kilometres at launch. And they're hoping for 500 kilometres in later variants. At speeds of up to 300 kilometres an hour. And we'll put the picture back up quickly. So it basically uses banks of what they term as electric jet motors embedded all throughout the wing, which then change angle depending on what phase of flight you're at. So yeah, we should see some EVTOLs at some point flying around.
I really wish this software had like an option to create polls to see, because like you say, barely a week goes by without yet another EVTOL story, and certainly the likes of Lilium and JB and stuff like that have raised huge sums of money for this development. And I don't know. I look forward to seeing my first one in operation, the first certified Yeah, it just seems a little way off to me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? I'm going to bring everyone back down to earth with another.
Nigel Hitchman has a quick observation. He said, that for Farley looks like a small version of the Polish jet-built crop sprayer from the 70s, and I think he might be right. Check this out.
Bloody hell. Sorry. Is that real?
Apparently, this is often referred to as the ugliest plane in the world. It's the PZL M15 Belflagor. It's also got the world's worst name by the looks of it. So that was designed to be that was a different take on crop dusting aeroplanes, and for sure that is definitely different.
It's
So
definitely different, yeah.
thanks for that.
Put that picture up again, Ed.
Sorry, shall I put it back up? Did we not have a first time around?
No, I think you see what's happened there is Simon Cowell's got hold of it and he's taken the trousered undercarriage and pulled it up too high to hold the wings on.
you know, I think do you remember when yaks and things became very popular in the 90s? And we were every yak you saw the cockpit of was like painted horrible blue.
Yeah,
and it's almost like only shall we design something incredibly ugly, we will use beige and blue, the two awful colours of the Russian the Russian or Polish kind of fleet design. We will paint it in these colours. So
that almost looks like something that could come from Bert Rutansky.
I see what you've done. Got the yes. Dave White says a Belfagor is a noisy demon. Is in history, in historic times, is a Belfagor actually a noisy demon, or have you just experienced this noisy jet?
Or was it a character in Harry Potter or something? Who knows?
Yeah, it was probably.
I'd imagine Dave White could be one of the people that's actually seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. Well,
in legend, apparently. There we go.
Not only is he is the kind of person who would have seen it, but he's also the kind of person who would have read a book.
Apparently, they made not content with making one ugly aeroplane, they made 175 of them.
No one could get close enough to say stop the production line because it was just repelling everybody.
And oddly, that means that you couldn't really have that in Fancy Hangar, could you? Because it's later on, it's going to be about unusual concepts, and clearly 175 that got way past the concept stage.
Yeah, well, they could have just parked them outside because nobody bought them or anything. But yeah, no, indeed. Right, I'm going to move on to a dull but worthy story, and that's been there's a Dave White is a lead. Yes, I think we can all agree that, and so is Darren Lewington actually. So a couple of legends there. I am going to get this story out, even if it kills me. There's an amendment to Cap 413, and it covers the use of FIDs, flight information displays. This is kind of leads on from the work where I don't know if you remember, there was a story around Manchester Barton where they had the ADS-B trial and they had the little flight information display in the tower for the FISOs and people there. So this is spread a lot further now, and it kind of further strengthens the CAA's move into ADS-B based traffic information. It's clearly this will be operated by FISO, so it's not full air traffic. It won't be providing separation services or anything like that. It's kind of designed to help their situational awareness, maybe to make and this whole kind of the Cap 413 thing. It gives a whole bunch of information as to how the FISOs will be explaining stuff to you, and hopefully in the way that you won't suddenly think that, oh my God, there's a FISO, they suddenly become a radar controller kind of thing. So just look out for the terminology. Go take a scintillating read of Cap 413 and learn a little bit more. Yeah, it was an excellent piece of work by Steve Hutt, absolutely, and it will be beneficial. And this is the early. Not the early iterations of it, because it's been around for a while now in experimental form, but this is kind of it making it into the mainstream. So you can it's another subtlety for people to pick up as they're flying in and around. So good stuff there. Go. I could get the whole thing up and read it to you, but that would just be dull. So you can read it. You can read it yourself and enjoy a little dullness. So anyway, that's some good stuff. Good stuff there.
There's some follow up there actually, because just tonight, Avionics have announced that something called AV Link. They're going to use ADS-B traffic, which you can have in the cockpit. I haven't got very many details on it. It just literally arrived in the inbox tonight.
Okay.
So it's the same.
AV Link is a little device that you can plug into the back of your AV30, and it will take traffic information from your Sky Echo and display it on your AV30.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Nigel Hitchman just has a thing there. Mostly a waste of time until real ATC can see ADS-B and give clearances based on it, making a replacement for Mode S.
Well, yes. Although I'm going to say, we probably wouldn't have got to the moon without the Wright brothers. So, well, it's all a journey, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
Rarely do you get to the destination before you start.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, good stuff. Anyway, Dave, bring us some stonking news about big airplanes.
Big aeroplanes. So Airbus has been having a summit over the last few days, and amongst the things they revealed is a hydrogen-powered fuel cell engine. They're looking at hydrogen as being one of the potential solutions to create a zero-emission aircraft, and they're looking to have something to enter service by 2035. Just over 13 years' time. So Airbus will start ground and flight testing its fuel cell engine on board what it calls its zero-E demonstrator aircraft. It's got an A380. It's got an A380 as a zero-emission test aircraft. So basically, they've got 4 engines which work, and then they stick on another one to see how it works. But as you said, it's a journey. Got to get somewhere. Got to start somewhere, and they do it in safety by having an aircraft that can fly, and they test the engine. The idea is that they were trying to work out whether hydrogen is a fuel that's best used as in fuel cells to develop electricity to power electricity engines, or to burn it in a jet engine. So there's 2 options with hydrogen, and they're trying to work that out. It follows very quickly on. You may remember an announcement from Rolls-Royce a couple of weeks ago, where they are already testing a hydrogen burning jet engine. So it's all happening between the manufacturers at the moment. Adding on to that story, and amongst big aircraft, it's another one of the sad bits in a way, in that the final Boeing 747 Jumbo has come out of the factory. Here it is. It's intended for a company called Atlas Aviation, and it's the last one. And you could probably look in the background and see, as they completed the aircraft, the rest of the production line is already being demolished for something else. So, but there's a lot of people with a lot of love giving out for the 747. It's been a fantastic aeroplane. It's hugely useful. It's transformed tourist flying, if you like, and business flying.
I guess it's ironic that the last ones in production are actually freighters.
Well, yeah.
What is it going to be called? The Darren Lewington? Do you think?
Well, that is already there. Like the end of an era.
An end of an era and a start for another one for Darren.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Talking. I think we got a 747 in the next story, Johnny, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Although the story has changed, so I'm now reading the latest off the internet because the story that I planned to say is now no longer valid. But I'll go with what I had planned to say. So Virgin Orbit was supposed to be launching their first rocket next week on the 14th. So they'll be taking off out of Newquay, and they had a nice barbecue sauce bottle-shaped NOTAM just south of Ireland for firing this rocket. So Spaceport Cornwall, aka Newquay, have got their spaceport license from the CAA. Virgin Orbit were waiting on their sort of launch operator license or whatever you want to call it. They haven't got that, so they've just postponed it. So it's not going to happen this side of Christmas now. Just reading the news, they've cited technical and regulatory challenges in getting ready for the launch, which reads as they don't have their license yet. So yeah, apparently the CEO said with licenses still outstanding, the launch itself and satellites and payload, additional technical work needed to establish system health and readiness, and a very limited launch window of only 2 days. They've determined that it's prudent to scrub it for now and focus on a latter date.
Darren Lewis has hit the nail on. They didn't book PPR.
Quite probably. Well, there you go. Ed, is that right that you got the next one?
I have the last story. So it's a reminder that Easter Airfield and the local residents around there are fighting a plan to build a biodigester plant 40 metres from the centre of the runway. And this is something the CA's Airfield Advisory Team have already responded to in proposal, and they object on several grounds. So this is an anaerobic digestion plant, and the infrastructure to support it, which will go on the southern corner of the airfield site adjacent to Easter Airfield. So we've got a web link. So it's just every objection or comment counts. So I put a link in the comments to the planning portal, where for the Highlands region, where you can go and have a look at that. And underneath that is a reference that you can go and search for. So there and there, take a look through and have a look and see if that's something that you would like to support, because Easter will definitely like your support for that. And it's clearly not a very sensible placement of this huge operation, and it could have a major impact on the airfield.
Yeah.
Certainly something else tacked onto the whole airfield madness thing, which we were hearing bits about just before we came online, is Eshot Airfield, who offer their airfield to the emergency services and the armed forces. Are they facing an enforcement notice or?
I think it is. Yes.
Yeah. Where the local council is saying, well, your airfield is only has permission to operate light aircraft and other items up to a certain weight limit. So clearly doing things like supporting the military services or, critical life-saving infrastructure like air ambulance or other things like that. Actually, we don't want you to help them out. That would be bad. Just crazy.
Yeah. Northumberland County Council. I mean, it's beyond words, isn't it? Yeah. No, the enforcement notice. You can't accept emergency or military aircraft in.
No.
And given that the Coast Guard is often pop in for a rotors running refuel.
Yeah.
When some poor buggers in a canoe off the coast somewhere waiting to get a lift back.
It's a clear shot at their revenue sources, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I just can't understand how someone in a council can logically sit down and go, yeah, that will be a popular thing if we really enforce. It would be a bit like going, encouraging people to go out and stab the tyres of ambulances or something, wouldn't it? It's that kind of stupidity.
Yeah. Anyway, we only sort of found out about that just before we went live. So I'm going to commit to. I'm sure at some stage, real soon now. Not today, but hopefully in the next day or so, we'll have a news story up on that and get some more information on it. But
yes,
one of those bonkers things. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the news, and I'm going to bring back the stuff. That was the wrong button, wasn't it? I'll bring back that was the wrong one as well. Oh, man.
It's big, Simon. It's a small Simon. It's big. It's a big Simon. I feel that with your cardigan and this cravat thing going on, that you've almost got like some kind of magician show person thing going
on. Isn't it?
The shirt, no, it's a shirt. I was going the Val Doonican look.
Who's Val Doonican?
Yeah, don't you start. Yeah.
Only Johnny can get away with that question.
I need a rocking chair now, don't I?
Yeah, apparently. So, thank you very much for agreeing to come back, Simon. perfect timing. The weather's pants, or it's not actually. The weather's brilliant. It's just cold. I mean, it's amazing. You must have loved that flight you went on yesterday. It was brilliant. Wasn't
It just goes from bad to worse. You can go off people, you know.
There you go. So we got our first question. I don't know whether you want to give us a bit of an overview of winter weather, or whether you want to go straight into the Q&A. The choice is yours as a question there.
Yeah, we can. I'll tell you what. Shall I answer that one first of all?
Yes.
What's the dash line on the surface pressure chart? Okay, so that is what we call the 528 line. Now, I can actually show you if can I show you some graphics on here? Ian? Can I bring the graphics back up?
Yeah.
Again, let me just. It's on here somewhere. Says Simon. There it is. Okay. Can you? Let's try and do that again. There we go. Can you see that here? Yeah, got it. Okay,
can, yeah.
Super. So that is the chart for midday tomorrow, and the line that I think Paul's referring to is this dashed line down here. So you can just about make it out. Let me see if I can highlight that line for you. There we go. So I think that's the line that Ian's referring to. So that's what we call the 528 line. Now, it's quite complex in what it is. It measures the thickness layer of the atmosphere. As pilots, we don't really need to know that. But what we do need to know is that anything that is below 528, and I'll get to what 528 in just a second, anything that's below 528, so to the north of that line basically, means that any precipitation has a greater than 50% chance of reaching the ground as snow. Anything that's higher than 528 means that there's a less than 50% chance of the precipitation reaching the ground as snow. So as forecasters, we use that as what we call the snow line. Now, you can only see it on these particular Met Office charts on the 36-hour onwards chart. I've never quite understood why it's not on the early ones, but you can only see it on the 36 hours onwards. So you can see in this case, tomorrow midday, if there is any precipitation anywhere across the UK, it's got a greater than 50% chance of falling as snow. So what does 528 actually refer to? That is, now just stick with me with this, because as forecasters, we like to make things as difficult as possible. As you know, this is the dark art. After all, 528 is a decameter. And all that means is we've taken the final zero off. So it's tens of meters. So it refers to a thickness of the atmosphere between two different layers of 5,280 meters. That's all it is. But effectively, think of it as the snow line. And when we talk about probabilities of snow, actually, we're using that snow line to make that forecast. So that's what that line actually is. But I think on the Met Office coloured charts, it is shown as brown. But yeah, I've just highlighted it here in blue. Best thing to do when you get these charts is to mark it on like I've done here. But that's what it is. It's the snow line.
I have a quick supplementary question on that then. If that's the magical 528 line, are there any other decameter numbered lines that are of significance anywhere?
Of significance, I guess what we should look for is the 564. So if you show it again, you might, I don't think it'll be on there actually today, but 564 line in the summer. So the next one down is 546. They're always in the same increments. So this one here is 546. You see it just going through there. And there's another one here. That's 564 line. So when that's over the UK in the summer, that's a heat wave. That generally means temperatures of 25 degrees Celsius and above. Remember those, 25 degrees Celsius and above. So in terms of flying, that usually means that we're going to get moderate turbulence or greater because of heat. So it's basically thermals. But that's the other significant one, the 564. But we ain't going to see that for a few months, I'm afraid.
Cool. 528, 564. Just remember.
Yeah, those are the two lines you want. But the 528 is the really important one. So do you want me to tell you a little bit about the about winter and winter? Okay. I actually think for flying, it's not going to stack up too badly. I think it is going to be cold. So, I mean, you said today, Ian, didn't you? Did you happen to say that you flew today? I can't remember.
I flew twice today, Simon.
Twice? Okay, great.
That's twice as many times as you were supposed to fly yesterday.
Okay, right. So, yeah, it's going to be awful for flying, particularly for you, Ian, for most of the next week. No, not really. It looks like actually for flying, it's not going to be too bad. So we're going to get more of a north to northeasterly wind, I think, going through many of the winter months. And that means that this cold air will have a tendency to come back. It's not going to be cold all the way through. So we will get spells of more unsettled weather. But there's a definite shift, a tendency towards cooler conditions. Now, that does mean as well that we could get snow at times. And I do think we'll see some airfields with snow that lasts perhaps for more than sort of 5, 6, 7 days as we go through the course of this winter. But so long as the runways get clear, then, or attempted to be clear, then things shouldn't be that bad. But as I say, I think generally this north and northeasterly flow is where we're going to be. We'll be doing some research on this and talking it through in the office because, as you know, we've got clients who are sort of everything from energy traders through to emergency repair companies through to retailers. So they've all been saying, well, how cold is it going to get? How long is it going to last? So amongst us forecasters, we have this discussion. And we were talking about how similar actually this year is to the winters of 78 and 79. Those of you who can remember that, I can just about remember that. So the winter of 78, 79, and also the winter of 81, 82. And on the 13th of December, 1981, the temperature at RAF Shawbury got down to minus 25.2 degrees. Now, I don't think that's likely to happen over the next week or so, but it goes to show how cold it can get. I think we'll see minus 10s to minus 15s potentially over the next week, particularly over any areas that do see a little bit of snow. And that's actually what this winter is looking pretty reminiscent of. I'm not saying we're going to get minus 25 degrees. Okay, so don't get run out there and put your bets on the bookies with Simon saying it's going to snow and we're going to see minus 25 degrees. But these are the winters that it's stacking up to be quite similar to. So I think for flying, actually, it's not going to be too bad a winter. Certainly, winds don't look like being a problem anyway.
That's good. Talking to the bookies, question from Andrew Caldecott. Will it snow on the 25th? Could be worth money at the bookies. We could all pool all of our money on your estimate of whether it will snow or not, and we could probably go and buy a few airfields.
It's been great to be here. Oh God, this is another one. This is a forecasting nightmare as well. Will it snow at Christmas? It's that one day of the year. I suspect, and all the charts at the moment, I'm just looking at them now, so they've just come in for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We might be disappointing the kids here a little bit. I feel a bit like the Grinch because it may be that actually Christmas week just warms up a little bit and it stays milder through Christmas week, possibly into early January before it goes cold again. I could be really kind of causing myself some problems here, couldn't I? But yeah, I as the moment, I wouldn't be putting the bets on snow just yet for Christmas Day.
Fair enough. African Eagles pointing out that in Italy it was 17 degrees C at 1,000 feet today. So.
Wow, that must have been a big inversion, I would have guessed.
I would guess so. I think that sounds like a good enough reason to go to Italy, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Stuart Ruas, Simon, why is it that around November and April, when QNH is high and the wind is low and there's no split in temp, DP, terminal forecasters get it so wrong? It will fog out. Fed up with optimistic Viz and FCs.
Okay, let me just read through that again. So why is it around November and April? Yeah, when the QNH is high, so we've got high pressure, the wind is low, no wind, and there's no split in temperature dew point. TAFs get it so wrong, it will fog out. Yeah, you're right there, Stuart. I'm not quite sure that I've particularly noticed that, but I'll take it that that's the case if you have. I mean, what you have to bear in mind is that forecasters will try and get the forecast right. They will, and obviously it depends on the individual forecaster as to whether they've got experience of flying or not, and that does make quite a bit of difference. The problem, particularly, I would say, if you've noticed it November, April, I would say more related to April, is probably a problem with forecasting the minimum overnight temperatures. So that can sometimes cause a big problem with fog, is that in April you can be over optimistic of temperature forecasts. So you try and forecast them, but very often they can be a little bit high. And I think sometimes amongst forecasters writing the TAFs, sometimes there's a little bit too much of a tendency to rely on the models rather than using your own intuition. So, for example, I'll give you an example of this last night. Temperatures widely got to between about -4 and -7 across England and Wales and those clear skies with that amazing moon last night. So temperatures got down to between -4, -7 degrees. Models were predicting between about -3 to -4. Whereas if you use the old-fashioned forecasting techniques of looking at afternoon temperatures and dew points, you could see that the absolute minimum was about -7 to -7.5 degrees. And I think sometimes, Stuart, that's what happens, is that there's too much tendency amongst forecasters, because they are probably so busy, to look at the models, believe what the models say, and not use their own intuition or experience. That's why I keep banging on about the old rules, the old empirical rules for forecasting still work pretty well.
Well, there you go. Let's see if we got the last couple of questions to get in there before we head over to the old fancy hangar. There's a quick comment from Tom McCormack. What was the chart showing the 7-day history? And where can we find it?
Okay, Tom. So if you go to a site called wetter3.de, and again, Ian, can I share my screen? Can we try and share a screen here?
Yeah, go for it.
Have a look, and I'll see if I can do it. Just bear with me just a second. Do you want, talk amongst yourselves. Let's have a look, and I'll show you where it is. Where are we? Right. If we go to here, hopefully you can see that. If you go to www.wetter3.de, that's the site that you're going to see. And then, Tom, if you come down to this bottom left-hand corner here, click on that one, and then down the left-hand side here, you've got various different towns that you can select. So you see there, you've got London. Click on London, and that brings you up that chart every day. And it's a backwards trajectory of the air that we've had, and it goes back to 7 days. So there's various different towns down there that we use. We actually have a really clever little tool here, which I'm working on to get onto the weather website, which will actually enable you to do that for any airfield, for any location, and also be able to click on and see weather in 3D going forwards over the next few days as well. So I'm working on that one, which will allow us to see different cloud layers and stuff, because we as forecasters have access to all that information, but as pilots, we don't. And I think that should be out there to everybody. So I'm working on that one as well.
Cool. Does anyone want to pick a last question before we head to fancy hangar?
How about this one? This week's satellite images show the cold air coming down from the north with cloud and rain over the water only and not land. Is that because of the water temperature at this time of year?
Okay, so yeah, what's been happening is that when we get this Arctic maritime air mass, and this is why air masses are so important for us, because you know the textbooks are kind of really dry with air masses, excuse the pun, but they kind of are, and wow, it's hard work to trawl through what an air mass is and what weather it brings. But as pilots, if you learn your air masses, that's going to get you 80% towards the way of knowing whether we're going to be able to fly or not in most GA situations. So an Arctic maritime air mass originates at the Arctic, flows over the water. So it's cold air coming over the oceans north of Scotland and then down over the North Sea, over the Atlantic and over the Irish Sea. So what happens is that the water is a little bit warmer at this time of year, and it just provides enough heat to get convection going. And we see convection as cumulus clouds and as cumulonimbus clouds. And that's why we've seen the showers around the coasts during the last couple of days. But of course, by the time that air gets inland, it's all dried out. It's colder anyway at the surface. So that sort of convection can't take place. And if you want to be technical about it, what it means is that the air over the water is more unstable than the air over land. And to get really, really technical with it, that means that the air over the water is actually conditionally unstable. And the conditional bit basically means that if you give it a little bit of moisture, it'll turn into showers. But that's what's been happening. Essentially, it is that warmer water and the really cold air aloft that's been triggering the showers.
Wow. Thank you very much for that, Simon. And thank you very much for coming along and giving us a little weather Q&A. Reminder for everybody, if they want to go and Google Astral Aviation Consulting, you'll be doing a thing, I think next Wednesday, is it? The 7th?
Yeah, Wednesday.
But you need to register for the webinar, don't you?
Sorry?
You need to register for that webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's Wednesday evening, 7:30, and like Ian says, go and do a search for them. But you need to register because it's on Zoom. So if you register for it, and then you can take part and ask any questions that you need. So I'll see you on Wednesday if you're going to take part in that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Otherwise, have a great week. I genuinely hope you get to go flying soon.
So do I. I need to. Thanks all.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Time for
Ed wins. Ed wins. Ed wins.
that was the wrong one.
Yes.
I don't know. What happened there?
You've hacked it, Ed.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Right. Let's try and bring in a little. Right. Okay. We're running a little bit late. It's 2024. So let's just run through. Ed, do you want to tell us all about Fancy Hangar?
Okay, so this week, inspired by the news that the new airplane concept from UK's newest aircraft company, for Farley, that plans to suit multiple power plant options, that got us thinking, what other concepts have appeared where the thinking was a bit more radical, and which ones would we pick for our fancy hangars? So who's first?
I think Johnny / Sarah needs to go first this week.
Yeah.
But
Right. So I've gone for. So this is from a family of aeroplanes which were developed in Yugoslavia in the 50s. And it seems there was some quite good radical thinking going on, really, because I'm trying to get. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm trying to download a picture of a different one because it's part of the same family, but honestly, an insane-looking machine. But I've picked something called the S451M. Now, the 451 bit is the family, so really the only distinguishing factor is the M, and it's called a Zolja, which means wasp, and it's basically a small jet-powered tail dragger. Normally, you'd think these things are going to be horrendous. You know, a jet designed in the 50s in Yugoslavia is going to be ugly, but that isn't ugly to me. That's got the sort of comings of something that could develop into a really nice looking machine. But many of these came with different variations. So that's got engines embedded in the wings. Some had engines underslung. But weirdly, for this one, the embedded engines, the only way to, apparently, looking at the photos, the only way to access and service the engines is from the wings.
Presumably that's how you check the oil as well.
Yeah. Ed pointed out earlier.
Yeah, I like a folding wing, but I'm not sure that, based on my experience of cowlings, I'm not sure I'd be attaching a wing to them.
No. Well, you wouldn't want an uncontained engine failure, would you?
No. Yes.
No, that would be bad. So yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, it does look a bit like the Miles Sparrowjet, a little bit bigger maybe, but yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
cheap to hang.
Yeah. In the background, I'm going to download a couple of the other pictures because they're mad aeroplanes.
You do that while Dave's. You can't enter those to win because you would have had too many bites of that particular story. So we're gonna move over to Dave for his choice.
Well, following on from the Farley available in Morrison's, I've also gone for a food-inspired aeroplane. It's the Vault. Is that how you say it, Ed? Vault V173, the Flying Pancake. Here it is. Bearing in mind the subject of this fantasy hangar, unconventional aircraft, this is an American experimental test aircraft built during World War II. It has an all-wing design consisting of a flat, disc-shaped body serving as a lifting surface. 2 piston engines buried in the body drive the propellers on the leading edge. It's designed by a chap called Charles H. Zimmerman, and hence the aircraft got the nickname the Zimmer Skimmer. And it actually has flown, which you can see it's flying, flew on the 23rd of November 1942 with a very brave chap, the Vault chief test pilot at the controls. It was also flown later by Charles Lindbergh, who said it was easy to fly, surprisingly easy to fly, with impressive low-speed capabilities. Probably means it hasn't got very impressive high-speed capabilities.
Any capabilities, yes.
Yeah. So it did do 190 flights, but came to naught.
And that aeroplane exists in a museum. It has been restored. They actually created the Vault went on and imagine one of those crossed with a Corsair powered by 2 big turbine engines, and that was going to be the next generation thing. Luckily, that didn't make it. They canned that at the prototype stage, because that was clearly, you can imagine a giant tail dragging turbine powered pancake.
There is another picture somewhere in the system here, which shows it parked on the apron, and I think this is a brilliant picture. If you turned up at a fly-in with this picture,
I failed
there
to
somewhere.
find that picture.
Yeah, it's the
Oh
one.
no, there you go. There you go.
Look at that. I mean,
it looks like a crab, doesn't it?
It does.
Kind of a crab. Yes.
What you're going to say is you turn up at a fly-in this aeroplane, and you have to stare through your feet to avoid taxing into people.
I did read a report from the pilot who said you can't actually see through that bit. It's not, the cockpit. It's not very well laid out, and you can't actually see through it. So landing must have been a bit suck it and see.
I've actually been to that museum and seen that aeroplane. I can't remember where it was now. Somewhere in the States. But...
So let's see you hand prop that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I'm going to jump in before as we had the Ed Wins trailer. I'm going to jump in with mine. Mine's a pretty modern aircraft, to be honest.
I like yours. I'm curious as to why I would like to see yours reach fruition.
I would as well. It's called the Akoya, from a French company called Lisa Aircraft, and there you go. Look at this, pretty funky looking aircraft, isn't it? It's got a couple of kind of strange, different bits of thinking. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously. Maybe it looks like it's just flying low, but this is actually Ed will have to decide what kind of airplane it actually is. But effectively, you can use it off water without any problem. You can use it off tarmac. It's got retractable undercarriage, and you can also use it on snow, because it comes out with skis as well. Plus, in order to get sort of decent takeoff performance, the wing area expands, but you've effectively got like a little roller blind that pops extra wing. I mean, it's a carbon fiber aircraft, but not a carbon fiber wing extension. So you get it is literally like a roller blind that extends the surface area of the wings for takeoff. It was exhibited at Oshkosh in 2012, I want to say, sometime around then, and obviously flown, done quite a bit. There's only one of them. Sadly, it was going to be taken to fruition, and it was going to become an LSA in the States, with some significant Chinese investment. But my understanding is the investment that was promised never actually got delivered, and I think it's a project that is probably laying dormant or at very slow speed at the moment. So if you want a funky project, an airplane that does everything, that's got some really clever aerodynamics in it, then that's your project, the Akoya from Lisa.
That is a great. I think that's a great design. And I think technically we would call it an amphibious sea ski plane, wouldn't we? So certainly jack of all trades, and it has demonstrated it can do all the things. So it's definitely not master of none. Rotax powered as well, isn't it? So
yeah, that was that. I mean, that's the 912 ULS. I'm guessing you'd have a 912 IS now if it was being done now. But yeah,
how'd you check the oil level with a step ladder?
It's not that high. I'm pretty sure that when that's on the ground,
yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
unless your name's Ivy MacGyver from Cirrus, you can
yes.
Check
but yeah,
Ivy's quite short.
The only thing I can think of that has stopped this getting further is the market's not quite ready for such a multi-tool aeroplane, and it would probably someone's looked at it and gone, this will cost us a fortune to make.
Quite probably. I mean, it's interesting. It comes from France because obviously they do have a bunch of seaplane stuff going on in France around Biscarrosse, and there's lots of ski flying in the mountains at the right time of year. So it's kind of like a plane for the country it's built in. We'd probably struggle a little bit for the snow down here. Anyway, that's my entry.
An excellent concept.
Young Ed.
Mine feels positively almost normal by standards of most things that you've seen here, and that's saying something because it's a Rutan design. So I picked this, the scale composite.
Find it. Where's it gone? There it is. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. I picked the scaled composites catbird, and just because it was at the time it was designed in the 80s, it promised to be a real high efficiency 5-seat single engined aeroplane. Rutan designed it when he was running Scaled Composites, and at the time when it was owned by Scaled was owned by Beechcraft. And believe it or not, it was intended to replace the Bonanza. The pilot was on the centre line, 4 passengers sat behind in club-style seating, and on 210 horsepower TIO 360, you had a cruise of 238 knots. Now, Catbird won the Cafe Foundation Cafe 400, where Mike Melville flew it. And when it was flown by Dick Rutan, it won the 1993 Cafe Challenge. And it got it could do 210 miles an hour at a fuel consumption of 20 miles per gallon, carrying nearly 1,000 pounds of kind of payload. But it was never the financial situation at Beech at the time and competing projects meant that it never made commercial production. And they stored it, but nicely. The aeroplane was brought back into flying condition by some Scaled Composites employees. And it flew again in 2011, and people have been using it ever since. And it has set a bunch more records, including a closed 2,000 kilometre course record from Mojave to Oshkosh, where it averaged 211 miles, so miles an hour. Just a cool looking thing from the 80s. So
there's some pretty interesting comments tonight. Darren Lewington. Where's Darren Lewington's comments? Just disappeared. There it is.
Is Ed doing the wrong week? And there is a canard on it. You know, it is a tri-surface aeroplane. But you know, like I say, as a Rutan design goes, you know, it was pretty. It's almost normal.
Yeah. Is it called a cat because that canard makes kind of like whiskers? Cat's
it's a
whiskers.
bit like cat whiskers, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. A little bit like that. So what else have we got? Tailplane looks like it's on backwards. It does. I will give that. I think you've already put Dave White's out. Of all the wonderfully wacky Rutan designs, I went boring. I did, but you know, boring. It's like this was. I guess the fact that it was intended to replace the Bonanza and the Bonanza's still going suggested that actually you didn't need to replace the Bonanza.
I think I'm going to declare myself the winner here because there's lots.
Well, I think you can. There's not many Ed wins, that's for sure. Ian wins. Pretty.
Ian wins. Yeah.
Ian wins.
Given that there are 0 Dave wins or Johnny wins.
There's a couple of me.
Well, but Johnny wins. There we go. Ian wins. And I think Ian's is cool, and I would like to see Ian's make production. I like Johnny's. Ian wins. Excuse me, chaps. Ian wins second. Johnny third. Sorry, Dave. Chris Holiday suggested the Loxbear LDA1. That's worth googling. Sadly, that was burned in the fire that destroyed the Optica factory at Old Sarah many years ago, but was an equally bonkers aeroplane. Ian wins, Johnny wins, Ian wins, Dave wins. There we go. Sympathy vote. Sarah wins. Or Serac wins.
Johnny, have you got any of your wacky ones that you want to quickly show that you've done?
Yeah, really quickly. So this is the same family of airplanes. Yugoslavia must have been having a great time in the 50s. This is the first of this family of airplanes.
Oh, wow.
It's a prone pilot with 2 Walter Minors, both 160 horsepower apparently. So that's going to shift.
I guess they've given you they've given you some engines to crumple before your imminent death.
Yeah.
And then this one, I think looks gorgeous.
That looks nice.
What's wrong with this? Because this looks very normal.
Yeah, it's slightly meatier, but with a nicer nose.
Yeah. Has that got folding wings so that you can get to the cowlings?
I think that might do actually.
Just
droopy down wingtips at the end.
I'm seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Right. Have we got any events at all, Dave?
Yes. There's a couple. There's quickly scrolling through. So this Saturday at Compton Abbas, they're having a Christmas fly-in. We've already mentioned the online workshop with Clouds of Pilots with Simon Keeling. And there's an item on the Flyer website about that next Wednesday. Saturday, the 17th of December, Christmas market at Sherburn Aero Club. Tuesday, 20th of December, the Fenland Christmas Flying.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Great.
Yep.
Well, in that case, just leaves me to say thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Please do us a favor, give us a like so we can get some likes on this. Comment. If you're not a member of the club, go to the Flyer site, join up. It's £5. You could join for £3 a month. You could join for £5 a month. You could join for 52. Anyway, just join. There's loads of value to it. If you get to a year and you decide it wasn't worth it, let me know and I'll refund you. There you go. Can't say fairer than that, can you? So thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday for Livestream Extra if you're a member, and next Thursday evening if you're not. Have a great weekend flying, wrap up warm, and have fun. Thanks, team.
Thanks all.
See ya.
See you all soon.